And for more on the recent developments regarding the Iran war, we're delighted to be joined over the telephone by Dr. Monica William, our international relations expert. Dr. Monica, good afternoon to you, ma'am.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me today.
Thank you very much, Doctor, for your time. Now, of course, with the situation still escalating as mediators scramble to secure further guarantees and talks before the ceasefire expires or is expected to expire later this week. We've seen Iran doubling down with regards to its pledge to restrict any ships passing through the Strait of Hormuz as long as the U.S. blockade of the Strait and the Iranian ports continues. How do you see this development, Dr. Monica, in light of the diplomatic efforts to reach further talks in the near future?
Well, let's just start with the analysis of the reaction of the main actors, as you said, the United States and Iran in the other side. President Donald Trump, is beating on reshaping the trajectory of the conflict by shaping or shifting from direct military pressure to a more sophisticated model based on economic quotient, as you said, that targeted the lifeline of the Iranian economy. Oil exports, so the comprehensive U.S. and Donald Trump administration nowadays, its maritime lockdown goes beyond the disrupted oil flows. It extends to halt vessels linked to Iranian trade and broaden the enforcement to a global scale. On the other side, let's assure that this strategy rests on a clear assumption that these experts halted Iranian storage facilities would reach a capacity within weeks. So it forced the Iranian nations to shut down of oil production itself. So it impacts the long-term structure damage on Iran energy infrastructure. However, this assumption faced historical and structural constraints. Experience suggests that Iranian system doesn't treat economic pressure as a bargaining tool, but on the other side, it's essential threat. So it's making the scenario of this strategy far from guaranteed or somehow reaction or step back from Iran to maximum pressure may act as a catalyst for counter-escalation. On the other side, Iran responds to U.S. pressure so clearly through a dual strategy of internal absorption.
Yes.
On the other side, it's external cost redistribution from the day one. It's the Iran strategy in this regard. So the Union closure of the Strait of Hormuz, through which one path of global oil supply passes, isn't just reactive. It presents a redefinition of the complex equation. If Iran is prevented from exporting its oil, it's clearly said by the statements of the Iran administration or Iran state, it can disrupt the global oil flow altogether. This move, followed by the U.S. confirmation of the growing maritime block path or Iranian forces, reassures that strict control over the stream and maintaining restructure as long as the blockade persists.
Right. Dr. Monica, now the two main points of contention or these sticky issues, the first being the uranium, the nuclear file for Iran, the second being, of course, the Strait of Hormuz. Now, still tensions exist, and we've seen the Iranian Deputy Foreign Minister saying Tehran is ready to defend itself in case of any possible scenarios, adding that any lasting peace deal must be based on international law and under the enriched uranium issue must be under the supervision of the IAEA. Do you see the role of the IAEA in this regard as prominent? Can they play a more prominent role to reach some sort of negotiation or agreement between the two parties?
Of course, there is a role, but the role of each agency is confirmed the narrative of United States in this regard, and the stark divergence between the statements by Donald Trump, which suggests a near final agreement and extensive Iranian consent, including the removal of uranium and cessions of regional proxy support, and categorically Iran denies reflects a well-known negotiation dynamic that can be described as, we can say it, a pre-signature pressure phase. So U.S. over-optimize the service on multiple purposes or objectives. First of all, it maintains an image of strength. On the other side, avoiding perception of defeat and generate momentum for consensus between or from the Iranian side, and keeping indirect negotiations channel open. So, on the other side, Iran denied aim to perceive negotiation leverage, avoid premature concessions in this regard, and manage domestic public opinion. Despite this apparent contradiction, we can say that clear area of governance exists, particularly in the shared incentive to avoid renewed escalation, as there is a calculation, a strategic calculation from the both sides how to find exit strategy from this war.
Yes, right. We'll leave it at that. Thank you very much, Dr. Monica William, our international relations